Welcome to our version of the Marzano 41 presented by Ann Scotty and Carol Mickus. Communicating learning goals is important in any classroom. Ann posts standards, essential questions, and daily tasks in a very orderly way. The color-coded board is easily read and understood by students and visitors. Great beginnings lead to positive learning outcomes. Sentence starters, such as this, will work in any content area to establish a goal for successful understanding of academic texts. The physical layout of each classroom is important to set the stage for the teacher to apply their craft comfortably and successfully. You will now see the extremely different styles of Thelma and Louise. One of us is stuck in the ceiling. Yes, that is my classroom. And this is my very normal and wonderful friend in her well-organized, structured, standards-based classroom. When I grow up, I want to be just like Thelma. Creating and maintaining relationships with students and families is important to the success of the entire school community. These bonds are important to our students and are as important to Ann and I. I am the nerdy coach of the Science Olympiad team. And Ann is the really cool teacher who coaches the basketball team. Either way, we both recognize the importance of involvement beyond the 8-hour day. Setting the tone for the classroom and establishing classroom norms is a good way to provide kids stability. If they arrive at this very neatly decorated door, they are comfortable and aware of what is going to occur once they enter the classroom. Their expectations and understandings of the structure allow them to be confident. Some educators have a different take on norms, or maybe they are just not normal. This is a brain I make out of Jell-O that signals to the students that it is a dissection day. They love it, and they can eat the brains after dissection is cleaned up. First day working with circuits. They are built for them to study, take notes about, and test. Second day, I have disassembled them, and they are given the task of reassembling the circuit boards back to functioning appropriately. I hear and I forget. I see and I remember, I do and I understand. This old Chinese proverb proves itself time and again in my classroom. Students are organized, engaged, and attentive in this practice session. Practice and application provide students a deeper understanding of the new content knowledge they have gained. Students are solving a murder mystery during a forensics unit of study for STEM class. PhD candidates from Georgia State University come to the school and work with the students to go through all aspects of crime scene analysis. Engagement is high, and students are encouraged to generate and test hypotheses about their knowledge. Students work through the engineering design process to design, build, test, and refine a product. Iteration is important and keeps students focused and engaged on repetition to get it right. And then the teacher tries to maintain a personal life. My granddaughter loves horses. Ann and her son love basketball. What a great way to spend time together, and she is the coach. To communicate high expectations in the classroom, we use prompts such as this for letting students know that we believe they are the best as soon as they walk in the door. The bar is set high. So sometimes they catch me napping, and sometimes we catch Ann taking a break. Because if we do not, this happens. Student understanding of rules and procedures allow productive grouping during lab activities. Celebrating success is the best. Students, especially in high poverty, really need a cheerleader, and they really have a great one in Ann. Being a part of the school community is very important. Getting involved with crazy school functions, planning field trips, and reaching outside the walls of the classroom promotes student learning. By being a well-rounded educator, we activate student interaction with new knowledge and keep the engagement at a very high level. Just as we have an expectation for students to work outside of the classroom and do their homework, we must do homework as well. Professional development is important to continue to learn new skills and strategies to assist student success. Debates are a great way to deepen student understanding of concepts and to correct misconceptions. When students interact with one another in this way, the knowledge is being used to resolve issues in real time. This debate is being facilitated by a professor from the University of Georgia who is holding a snake. He has begun a debate with a group of 7th grade students in regard to environmental issues. The students in this photo are obviously engaged in their task and are showing great respect for classroom rules. Ann's classroom demonstrates the highest level of structure and organization. Students are working to practice a concept already covered in class. To constantly and consistently communicate high expectations to my students, I must also engage in this expectation for myself. I am an avid grant writer and at this moment was working on a grant for money and supplies to build a garden at our school. We have since adopted the garden at the neighboring elementary school and have begun our own garden. Diligence on my part translates into engagement and ownership on their part. A coach must spend many additional hours at the school, many times foregoing personal life, and sends a sound message of dedication and expectation for herself and of her students through her coaching efforts. Differentiation in the classroom is important for practice and engagement. Within one class period, it is important to move through as many differing tasks as possible to catch all learning styles and to maintain student interest. This is a quick assessment piece where students arrange information on a whiteboard to explain a specific topic. Outside the box, a student hangs out with a very large snake. Allowing students to become familiar with the very unfamiliar, or even something once perceived as frightening, is a terrific strategy to encourage them to be moonshot thinkers. In this demonstration, I injected the chicken with oxytocin, which caused it to lay the egg immediately. Students did not believe it would work. And it did. Fortunately for the chicken, the students understood that this was just an experiment to explain different chemical reactions within living organisms, and the chicken was perfectly fine. Sometimes this is the byproduct of maintaining a lively pace for a middle school classroom. We spent 45 minutes outside doing experiments with Newton's 3 laws of motion, and this young man simply could not hang with me once back in the building. We all need a nap sometime. Individual recognition of student achievement is a terrific strategy to reach students. They need to be proud of their accomplishments and know that we believe in them, and does this by creating superhero storyboards on the wall of her classroom. These students have learned about tectonic plate movement and are now making movies in which they star as different geologic events. They love this activity and it reinforces the standards taught. We go through a terrific amount of butcher paper, but it is well worth it to see the final product and the level of understanding shown by students in their movies. Field trips are very important for learning. Whether in school or out, students need to receive information from someone other than their immediate teacher sometimes. These students studied human body systems through a unit written with Shepherd Spinal Center in Atlanta. After completion of the unit and the case study, I took the students to tour the facility and to meet the patients they had studied. What a great life experience. Working in groups, using technology, finding their own best way to learn is pivotal to success in the classroom, and students work in groups in an organized classroom to gain understanding of the standards. The organization of the classroom and understanding of the rules and expectations allows Anne to get the most productivity out of her time with her students as possible. No matter what you are doing, happiness is important. In many cases, students can manage to accomplish tasks simply by being left to work without interruption. These students have completed a lesson and are now working on creating a 2-minute presentation as an assessment of what they learned. Using available technology is important in the 21st century classroom. This is the site I use for student notes, work, tests, and discussion. Students learn well when they do things. Students actually created pumpkin gardens and then planted them at the school. We now have a very large pumpkin patch. Engagement is the key. Students must understand the expectations and respect one another. As the classroom dynamic changes and we are teaching more and more students, it will be necessary for us to continue to learn new strategies to ensure success. The greatest strategy we can offer you is to keep the students engaged, get them out of their chairs, and encourage them to think. Gardening, building birdhouses, starting a saltwater aquarium, or creating nature journals, as opposed to the old-fashioned notebooks, are all examples of high level of standard-based student engagement. Posting practices and plans for how the course will be managed is important for students to understand the expectations and goals. We thank you for watching and wish you the best in your classrooms.